So if you've noticed on Instagram or TikTok, there's plenty of people on the street answering what they do and how much they make. So if you've come across some of these videos, you'll know what I'm saying. But when you watch those videos and you hear about people's salaries, you need to dig deeper. You can't just focus on their salary. You also need to look at their location, their role level, what industry they're in, and other such factors. But in this video, I'm going to be looking at 11 popular TikTok videos where people share their salaries and what they do. And I'm going to give my opinion if they're earning on average, above average, or below average. So let's get into it.
How much do you make?
About $245.
Holy moly, is that total like base? What does that look like?
That's base and equity, not including bonuses. I'm a data scientist.
So this video seems like this guy's making about $245,000, and he does say he's a data scientist. On average, data scientists in Denver, Colorado make about $125K. So he's definitely earning well above average. So one thing he doesn't mention is what his role level is. He could be a senior level, a lead level data scientist, which could make sense if he's earning higher than average. But even then, making $245K well above the average probably is an indicator that he might be working at some of the biggest companies in Denver, some of the big tech companies, some of the FAANG companies, or a company that is probably an enterprise or a publicly traded company.
Where are you from?
Australia.
How long have you been in New York City?
Only 10 days.
How long are you staying here?
Only 10 days.
What's your occupation? What do you do?
I work in tech sales.
And how did you get into that?
I just got into it through reaching out to different companies that I was interested in working for straight out of high school. I study on the weekends, and so there's a lot of hustle involved, but I eventually landed a really lower level job and worked my way up into sales.
How much money do you make per year doing that? Let's do it numbers.
In AUD, I know. So in AUD, I'm making around 120,000.
Okay, this one's interesting because she's actually Australian, but she's in the US for a holiday. But she does mention that she makes about 120,000 Australian dollars in the US as an account executive in tech sales, which if you translate that into US terms, it's going to be roughly about $83,000. But because of the purchasing power difference in Australia versus the US, it's going to be roughly about 95K USD as a base salary. And on average in tech sales in the US at least, it's $100,000 in New York. So she's very close to average. However, something interesting that she said was she worked her way up in sales. So she started in a lower level. And what this probably means is that she was working as a BDR or an SDR for the first couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years, and then she got promoted into an account executive. And that's what people specifically say, tech sales, that all that buzz around it, it's mostly for the account executives, but you've got to start somewhere. But for her, an equivalent 90, 95, 100K base salary is just about average.
What do you do for a living?
I'm actually an office manager.
How long have you been doing that?
Almost 20 years.
How much are you making in this role?
6 figures.
6 figures?
Yeah.
What's a range, maybe like 110, 120, 130?
You can say that, 110, yeah.
That's pretty good. Do you feel well compensated?
Sometimes yes and sometimes no. Work is work.
Yeah, and depending on inflation, right?
Correct.
So this lady mentions that she makes about $110,000 roughly. And this is in New York City. And here, the average office manager makes about $88,000. So she's making above average. What this could indicate is that she probably works for a bigger company, or perhaps she works in an industry where the pay is usually above market. For example, healthcare, financial services, tech, they usually pay better than other industries. So for her, 110, definitely above average.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a sales manager at a financial services and accounting firm.
How long have you been doing that?
About 6 years.
How much are you making?
My base salary is $125. If I hit my quota for the year, then I make $205.
So this guy says he's a sales manager, and this is in Chicago. But he also mentions the fact that it's not in tech sales, it's in finance. And in finance sales, the average sales manager makes about $100,000 base. So for him, making 125K is definitely above average. Because usually in tech sales, the salary ranges are typically higher. So a sales manager in Chicago in tech sales would usually be making about 130, 140, 150. But because this is in non-tech sales, 100K is usually the average. So for him, he's definitely making slightly above average.
What do you do for a living?
I am a policy analyst with the Illinois Commerce Commission.
And how much are you making?
$116,000.
Nice. Do you feel well compensated?
I feel amazing about that, yes.
I'm sure. And you're based in Chicago.
Technically, I work in Springfield, but I only have to be there about once a week, so.
So this lady is a policy analyst making $116,000 in Chicago. And on average, policy analysts in Chicago make about $85,000. So her making $116,000 is definitely well above average. And she also does mention her job is hybrid. She only goes into the office once a day. So it's a nice setup for her.
What do you do for a living?
I work in ad sales. I'm a 50-50 split, about 300 OT.
Okay, so this lady is very interesting because she works in ad sales, so advertising sales, and she does live in New York City, which along with San Francisco does tend to pay slightly higher than other cities to account for the higher living costs. But she does mention she makes about 150K base, and then with commissions on a 50-50 split, she could make about 300K OTE, which is on target earnings. And what's interesting is, on average, ad sales in New York City range about 85K to 95K. So her making 150K is well above average. So what she could be working in, if I had to guess, is she probably works at a tech company, but she sells ads. So if you think about it, she might be working at companies like LinkedIn or Reddit or Snapchat on the sales team, and their product is ads, amongst other things. So she could be selling ads as a product, but she's still in tech sales. And that's just my opinion, because her compensation is quite high if it was a non-tech sales role. But overall, 150K, if it's non-tech sales, well above average.
I'm an investment banker.
Oh, nice. How much do you make?
I make $200,000 a year.
So this guy's an investment banker. He makes about $200,000 a year. He doesn't mention if this is base and total comp. He doesn't give the breakdown. So if I had to guess, this is probably the total compensation. And he's most likely going to be an analyst level 2 or level 3, where he's making about 110, 120K base, and the bonus is about 80K, 90K. And this is very common in investment banking roles because the bonuses are usually 80% to 100%. It could be also more than 100% of your salary, because these types of roles work on deals and their bonuses really just depend on the size of the deal. The pay ranges are usually on par with other investment banking roles. So whether you're working at a boutique company or a bulge bracket like large investment bank, the pay range is somewhat similar. Some of the firms pay slightly higher, some of them pay slightly lower, but it's going to be close to each other. So for him, he's right on average.
I'm a financial analyst.
How much do you make?
$75,000.
So this guy makes about $75,000. He's in New York City as a financial analyst. So what's interesting about financial analyst roles are there are two types. So one is closer to roles that are in accounting, budgeting, cost controls, and the other part of financial analyst roles are next to FP&A, strategic finance, which usually have higher compensation ranges. So if I had to guess, he's probably working on the first type of financial analyst roles. But even for those, the average compensation in New York City is about $95,000. So this dude right here, he's earning slightly below average in probably what is a non-corporate, non-FBA type of financial analyst role.
I am a front-end software engineer.
How much are you making?
I'm making $135,000 right now.
So this lady is a front-end software engineer in Atlanta, Georgia. She's making about $135,000 base. And in Atlanta, these roles on average make about $130,000. So she's floating right on average, slightly a little bit above. So she's on good track for now.
I'm an account manager at one of the FANG tech companies.
How much do you make doing that?
So I have a base of 160K and then I have about 100K in equity. And my bonus is 35%.
Wow. This lady is absolutely killing it. And it makes sense because she's in FANG. So account manager, Atlanta, Georgia, works in FANG, makes top end of the range. So her base is 160K, her equity is 100K, and her bonus is about 35% of her base, so it's almost like $55,000. So her total compensation is close to 315K. So the average account manager role is close to 80K base and 150 total comp, so she's making essentially double that. And this is only because she works at a FANG company, where they pay top end of the range. So for her, making 315K total compensation compared to the 150K average, extremely above average. This is top tier level.
I am a cloud engineer.
Cloud engineer.
Oh, a couple. How much do you make doing what you do?
120K.
Nice.
120K a year.
So this couple, interestingly, both of them make the exact same money and they're in the exact same role. So they're both cloud engineers making 120K, and they're also in Atlanta, Georgia. And on average, cloud engineers in Atlanta make about $127,000. So this couple is very close. They're slightly below average, but they probably have a good pathway to meet the average and probably exceed it as the years come along. So overall, we've seen a bunch of videos and I've given you my commentary. But to be honest, again, as I mentioned, salary is just one part of the story. It depends on a multitude of factors. It depends on the location that you live in. Living in New York City, San Francisco is going to be completely different than living in Dallas or Houston. You also want to look at what other components of the package is there for you. So is there equity? What's the bonus like? What's the commissions like? You want to look at the full picture. And some people are also okay sacrificing maybe 10, 20K in base salary if they can get the job to be remote. So you also want to take that into consideration. So if you're watching this video and you relate to the people who are top tier earners, you're making 250, 300, 350K. Honestly, for people like you want to just make sure you continue growing in your role, continue thriving in your role so that you can climb the corporate ladder within the company that you're at, because they're already giving that opportunity for growth and they pay top end of the range. So you want to continue your career there. But for everyone else who feels like they're just on average or they're slightly below average, but they know that they have the potential to get there, my advice would be to job hop. Be open to new opportunities. Look for roles that pay maybe 10, 15, 20, 25% higher and see if you can try to break into that range. Because one of the best ways that you up-level your career financially is that you have to take the initiative to job hop every couple of years, target higher paying roles, higher level titles, and you have to fuel your career growth. So if you are interested in moving into a new role and you would like one-to-one career coaching support and a team to apply to jobs on your behalf to save you time and minimize your effort, then click the link below in the description. Learn more about us and how we've helped more than 1,000 people. And if you notice on our YouTube channel, you'll see plenty of case studies of people that we helped across multiple different niches. So if you're interested, the link's in the description. Once again, guys, thank you for watching this video and I will see you until the next one.